it's a big transition into moving into consultancy, but the highs are the flexibility, the autonomy that you have, the variety of different businesses that you work with, and, just being the ruler of your own destiny. Welcome to the O for Food's Sake podcast, where we unwrap the joys and struggles of working in the food industry so you can thrive in what you do best while sustaining a rewarding and fulfilling career or business. We are your hosts, Lucy Wager, food industry consultant,
and Amy Wilkinson, food industry coach. We've worked in the food industry for the last 20 years, and we're here to share with you the benefit of our hindsight. Our podcast is for you to find new ways to cope with the daily struggles, but mostly to inspire you to work on what's not working to ultimately improve your career or business long term. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of O for Food's Sake. Today, we're going to hear all about a day in the life of Lucy, a day in the life of an MPD consultant. And the reason we're doing this episode is, well, we've always said from the start of the podcast, Lucy's rubbish at telling us what she does. So she's got the spotlight on her today to talk about what she does on a day-to-day basis. But also, when we've been talking about it, I think there's quite a lot of misconceptions about what a product development consultant does, and we'll come on and talk about it. Probably lots of people are different, but we just thought we would talk about what Lucy does. And also, if you're thinking about getting a product development consultant, what do you need to think about? And also, if you're thinking of becoming a product development consultant, what do you need to think about? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So Over to you, Lucy, a day in the life of Lucy. So what do you do?
Yes, what do I do? I think a lot of people, well, we know that there's a lot of people that listen to the podcast and we laugh like they still don't know what I do. And I find it quite difficult to talk about what I do because it's so varied. So it's difficult to sum it up in one sentence other than to say I'm a consultant in the food industry and I specialize in product development. So, and if you work in the food industry, depending on what your experience of product development is, you will have an idea of what I do. Yeah. And if you work outside the food industry, pretty much people don't have any idea what we do.
Well, no.
So, I thought it would be a useful episode because I like talking about what I do. And I think over the last year, I've worked with or had more detailed conversations with other product development consultants. And I suppose I've been through a bit of a process of understanding where I fit in the world of product development consultants, and also focusing on what I want to do. Yeah. And the things I enjoy and what makes me different from another product development consultant I might work with. So I feel like I've been on a bit of a journey and I thought it'd be useful to kind of put all of that out there.
Yeah.
So the honest answer in terms of what do I do, and especially what do I do on a day-to-day basis, the honest answer is it really depends.
Yeah.
And I think that's partly because product development is such a huge area of what you can specialize in. And because the food industry is so diverse, there's lots of very diverse product development roles within the industry.
Yeah.
So, if you're working in a branded business, that product development role will look very different to if you're working in a manufacturing business. And the day-to-day tasks and how hands-on you are with the product can be very, very different.
Yeah.
I think the reason I find it difficult to talk about what I do is because I've had 21 years working in the food industry, always with a product development or, concept to launch hat on. I've done lots of different things. And particularly because obviously right in the middle of it, I started podology and, I'm stammering over this because I was still a product developer. Like my expertise is product development. I love launching products.
And you always say that like you had, and that was part of where you felt you lost yourself when you were in podology, wasn't it? Because you were having to be everything. And actually you're a product development specialist. But I was just thinking like, you're basically saying every day is different, right? And every project is different. Everything that you work on is different. Yeah. And you think that that's why you love it so much because you need that kind of variety, but you kind of learn through podology, there's variety and there's variety. That's like,
exactly.
Almost like you want different things every single day, but you don't want it to be like totally outside of your core competencies.
No. And I think people that don't understand the food industry will say, oh my God, what an amazing job. Like you're surrounded by food every day and it must be so foodie. which it obviously is to a certain extent. But I was thinking about this in the car, like my personal expertise and interests lie around the process side of product development. So the stage gate process, I'm
You love a
total
stage gate, don't you?
geek over. I love helping businesses understand how they can do product development and launch products better. So who gets involved where, what is needed from, the commercial team and the marketing team at what stages, and understanding how the machine works of
Yeah.
product development, getting a product from concept to launch. I love that bit.
Yeah, because there's some people, aren't there, that are really into like the concept and the
Yes.
doing the kitchen work and stuff like that. And you do a bit of that, don't you? But
yeah. I do a bit of that, but I always do that with the next bit in mind. So I'll always do that with, then we're very close to scaling it. We're doing this because we need to scale it. So I do it with that scale in mind and that process in mind. But I also lean quite heavily on technical side and food safety and that kind of comes from my podology years where I was the technical everything manager.
Operations, everything manager.
Yeah, I really didn't like operations, but I do like technical, and it goes hand in hand with the scaling side of it and the compliance side. And those things, that's what makes my product development consultancy unique to me, because whether it's a startup or a bigger business, I always find myself in those kind of areas. So developing the products and working with the manufacturers or suppliers, or with the production teams if it's a manufacturer, to get the product scaled, but looking at that end-to-end process, who else is involved, engaging with all, I love like stakeholder management and understanding how all the teams work with each other and getting the best out of everybody there to get the products to launch.
And I think that's an important point, actually, because I think sometimes people might think of a consultant coming in to just do their little bit, but actually it's really important that you get to know the business, isn't it? And like help with that implementation. It's not just I'm coming in to tell you what to do. I am doing it with you, and we will get everybody else on board.
Yeah, and that's interesting because actually I think the old-fashioned view of a consultant is that like you come in with your briefcase and a flip chart and like tell me what to do
and strip out. I mean, it's like we're thinking management consultants where they strip out a whole layer of management type thing. Yeah, it's kind of old school.
No, I mean, for me, it's more about sharing learnings, sharing best practice, connecting people. One of the things that I love is connecting, and especially like in the startup world, it's connecting people with the right people and making things happen and speeding things up. I like to speed things up.
Yeah.
So that's sort of me. And in terms, a day in the life of me is so dependent on what I'm doing. I mean, on Friday, I spent the entire day.
Give us some examples.
Okay, I'll give you examples. On Friday, I spent the entire day doing an agents and brokers audit for one of my clients. And when I tell people I've done that, like I'll tell another client, I can't have a meeting on Friday because I'm doing
BRC.
You're doing a BRC audit? I'm like, well, it's an agents and brokers audit. So it's not like I wouldn't do a factory audit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be the technical person doing the BRC. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. I wouldn't be the person managing that audit for the auditor.
Yeah.
But agents and brokers is different because you're not the factory. So it's a different set of requirements.
But still quite a lot of detail and quite a lot of technical knowledge as well.
Yeah, it is. And I really like that because, again, it's a process. It's setting up systems. It's documentation. And I really enjoy that sort of thing, which is quite different to what other product development consultants would do.
Yeah.
But the reason I do that is because sometimes when I work in these businesses, I know the business better than anybody else would know it coming in from the outside, because I've done all of the concept work and I've taken it to launch with the founders, and I know all the ingredient supply. So I know what systems are required and how to do that.
Yeah, because you've kind of gone through the whole end-to-end process, haven't you, of understanding everything and being involved in everything. So it's the natural fit.
Yeah. And the other thing for me is with my smaller clients, I get quite emotionally invested because I've been working with this business for over 2 years. And it's a very emotive type of product. I really like the people. And this is a big deal. Like getting BRC agents and brokers unlocks a big opportunity for them.
Yeah.
And so I get a lot of personal fulfillment out of doing that as well. Because, anybody that does any kind of BRC thing, you do question why you're doing it at times. But I find that really, really nice. Yeah. And then I was at IFE last week. I was doing some video content, and that was really about looking at what's happening in the market and, that trend side of things. So we've done episodes on trends. So I love getting involved in understanding what's coming up and what's happening in the market and looking at new innovations that are coming.
Because I guess you've got to be ahead of the game, haven't you? When people are like employed roles, they kind of get that information. They might get that through the insight team or something like that. But, in these big organisations, but actually you're working a lot more with smaller, medium-sized businesses, and you need to be that voice of knowledge for them. Yeah.
But even in bigger businesses, that it's not always, you can't know everything and because things are moving so quickly. And I think because consultants are out there, they're not tied to one person. Consultants have this kind of broader view of the world, which I think can be really valuable, even if it's a bigger business.
Yeah.
But I also do quite a lot of, I use point 74 a lot for like building recipes and understanding nutritionals, understanding what health claims we can make. So I then, if there's things that are beyond my knowledge, I will call on other consultants that I know, like in the nutrition field or in the technical field, to do help me with, more challenging compliance checks and that kind of thing. But then some days I can be in the kitchen and doing hands-on development. That's not a huge part of what I do, but I do like to keep my hand in and do that with my Thermomix. And then I could be at a development kitchen trying out new pieces of kit if I'm working with a food service business, for example. So very different.
Yeah.
And I think the thing for me that pulls it all together is I like problem solving.
Yeah.
I like helping businesses understand what they need to do product development better and faster and more efficiently, and avoid, with smaller business, that can, like bigger businesses, it's about speed, and more so about speed and understanding, how departments work together. And then for smaller businesses, it's, when I came out of podology, I wanted to bring my expertise into businesses to help them save money and do things right using expertise, because that's something that I didn't do very well. Like I always say this, I did too much for too long on my own, basically, because I'm a control freak.
Yeah. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick breather here to hear from our fantastic sponsors. They help keep the podcast going, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. As we all know, the food industry never stands still, and it's not getting any easier. More pressure, tighter deadlines, and endless spreadsheets. Sound familiar? Point 74 is the perfect solution for cutting through today's product development challenges, enabling teams to create, cost, comply, and collaborate with ease. Used by 1 in 5 of the UK's top food manufacturers and 2 of the top 5 retailers, it's the software behind the label of your favourite food products, delivering improved quality, margins and processes, all in one seamless system.
Ensuring food safety and quality is crucial. That's why businesses trust Microsearch Laboratories, part of the IFP Labs Group. UCAS-accredited Microsearch offers microbiological, nutritional and allergen testing for food, drink and water, delivering fast results and expert support. With over 30 years of experience, trusted by leading manufacturers and retailers, and a commitment to sustainability, Microsearch is your partner in product safety. Visit micro-search.co.uk to learn more.
And we're back. Thanks for sticking with us. Let's dive right back in. But actually, what you bring is all of those years of knowledge, and it's really hard to articulate and bottle it, isn't it? And say, this is what you bring, because I find the same with it. It's not like you're doing something and you're charging an hourly rate because, like you're doing some, I can't think of something that you would do that. It's you're bringing your knowledge, your network, all of that stuff together that makes the difference. Because one of the things that I wanted to talk about for, like, on your behalf or to ask you about is because I think a lot of people think of MPD consultants as interims that come in and do like an MPD manager's job. And that isn't what you do, is it?
No, I mean, that's not what I do. But obviously there are
some do.
Some that do. And so for me, an interim position is you're going in, you're filling that full-time or part-time role, and you kind of step in and you take over what somebody else has done or where there's a gap. And it's a very specific, clear job, it has a job role around it, and it's a function that you're filling a gap for. And that person wouldn't be doing anything else while they're doing that interim role. Whereas I don't work like that. I have multiple
You've
things
got loads of clients, haven't you?
Yeah. Because and that's how I work best, because I would go into paralysis if I had one thing to do. I need to have 15 different things going on in my brain to actually make me be able to do things, which I know doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, it does, because we both know, because we're neurodivergent. But I think I was alluding to that without saying that before, is actually knowing that now.
Yeah.
It's like, actually, this is the way to get the best out of my brain. If I'm just in one job and it's, it feels monotonous, you're not going to get the best out of me.
And when my clients work with me and I'm doing a good job for them, that is part of it. The
ability to do all of that.
The reason I am giving you the value that you're getting is because of everything else that I've got going on. Because in my brain is connecting dots and thinking, I could connect them with them and I could do this and that would work. And that's what drives me, and that's why I love what I do. And that's why, I'm in my 6th year of this consultancy business, which is a long time for me to be doing one thing, but I'm not doing one thing, I'm doing lots of things.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? It isn't one thing, so therefore you're able to maintain it. And it's interesting you say about that joining the dots thing, because I think one of the things that I see that you're brilliant as a consultant is your network and being able to connect different people and different things together. Like, it's a big part of it, isn't it? Because I know if I need to know somebody or something, I can ring you and go, do you know somebody that, and you're like, oh, no, but I know somebody that will. You always know somebody that will.
Yeah. And people ask me and I don't know immediately, and then I feel really frustrated. But I've learned now that I can say, let me come back to you, because I need to sort of sit on it for a bit and look through my LinkedIn, and then the connections will start happening. So, And what I've learned as well is when I have like an introductory call to someone, what I used to do was kind of preempt, try and work out immediately what they needed and like create the solution for them there and then. But what I've realized is, because each client is so unique and each need is so unique, I take a bit longer now to kind of understand and I know what questions to ask to sort of see where the problem is that they need solving, and if I'm the right person to solve it for them. And as I've got more experience and I've learned where I can deliver the most value, if it's somebody that's looking for someone to fill a role, that's not going to be me, but I'll probably know someone or be able to point them in the direction of someone that could fill that role. But if it's sort of a broader view of something, the other thing is I like taking a broader view, but I do like doing the doing as well on certain things.
Yeah.
So
that's why you're so busy, Lucy.
Yeah. But that's why it's important to understand what that particular client's looking for.
Yeah. So if somebody what happens? So if somebody's looking for a product development consultant, what should they be thinking about? If they were coming to you, where do they start?
So I think it's about identifying what your problem is. So what is it that you're struggling with? And I think it's really important to say at this point that you probably won't know what the solution is, but you need to articulate the issue you're having. So is it you've got a blockage because people in the business can't agree on something, or you can't find a manufacturer? There will be a problem, and you need to identify that to start having the conversation, to engage, and then think about, is it you need help with strategy, or is it execution and a bit of both?
Yeah. And I guess the point is, you're the expert on the other end, aren't you? So actually, don't be afraid to get on a call with a consultant and go, these are the problems that I hat, like give that breadth, because like I think that's, and I don't know if this was part of what went on for you in podology, it's almost like not, somebody feeling like that they can't admit that they don't really know what the solution is. And actually that's why you're paying for a consultant. So it's okay to not know what the solution is. And I think I see it all the time where I have conversations and the solution is something completely different to what people thought it was going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, asking the right questions like, have you worked with businesses like ours before? Or, what businesses do you work with? Because then you'll get a gauge for the type of consultant they are. And just getting on and sort of feeling like you can work with the person.
That's so important, isn't it?
Is really important.
Yeah.
And think about how you want to work with that consultant. Is flexibility important to you? How much time do you want them to be on site? What are the key things that you want them to achieve? What would a good end result look like when they leave you?
Yeah, because I think it's important, isn't it, at that early stage to be really clear on expectations of things like that, because not every consultant is going to want to be on site all the time or whatever the thing is.
Yes, exactly. And, I think a good consultant will tell you what their strengths are, but also tell you what they're not good at or what they wouldn't do. Or, I wouldn't ever do anything financially, or I don't like commercial. I can have commercial conversations. I understand commercial, but it's not my forte.
Yeah.
And by being honest about those kind of things together, you can see whether the fit would be right as well. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about was about for people who are thinking about consultancy, because we both get quite a lot of people asking us or, saying, and I get this from people out from different industries as well. And, I love doing what I do, but it's not for everybody. And there's a difference between interiming and the kind of consultancy that I do, because I love the variety. I love the independence. I love connecting the dots and having, using my network. But for whether you're an interim or doing what I do, the challenges are going in knowing that there could be like a feast or famine situation where, sometimes you're really, really busy and you've got to make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah.
And then other times you might feel like you're going to not have the work coming up, and that's a horrible feeling. So there's that job security.
When you can see contracts coming to an end and there's not something else there, you almost have to, it's the peril of being self-employed, isn't it? And you almost have to, like you say, make hay while the sun shines and squirrel away some money so that you don't feel like that, because it is a horrible feeling. Like, where's the next mortgage payment coming from?
It is. And I think for someone that's been in a full-time corporate style job, to transition into consultancy is very difficult. I haven't done that because obviously I came into consultancy from podology, but it's very challenging because, your fees cover everything. Whereas when you're in a corporate role, you don't think about sick pay, holiday pay. You don't think about all those things. And so when you're coming into a consultancy business, you need to be really realistic about your fee, because you've got to take into consideration, what happens if you get ill? What happens when you go on holiday? What happens?
And I think that's the thing. When you work in corporate and you get a consultant in and you see what the day rate is, you're like, oh, flipping heck. And you like multiply it by, 5 and 52. That is not the reality. And like you say, there's all those other things that we have to think about, and the times when there isn't work coming in, and the fact that it's like, it isn't just a day job. It's bringing in expertise. But so I think from the outside, it can, and I think for anybody that's thinking of becoming a consultant, like whatever you think that you should charge, you probably should double it.
And it's a journey that you go on, I think. Because there's nobody else doing anything. It's you. You are responsible for everything. And you and I have got to the point in both our businesses where we've got other people supporting us. So when a business is employing you, they're getting me, but I do have a support network behind me as well, because that's how I do what I do. So it's a big transition into moving into consultancy. But the highs are the flexibility, the autonomy that you have, the variety of different businesses that you work with, and, just being the ruler of your own destiny, basically, is what I love. But I also, deeply envy people that are in a normal job as well, because the grass is always greener.
Yeah.
But I think if you are looking at making that leap, nurture your network. And, that's been a big, we both talk about the importance of LinkedIn and our networks behind us, and knowing the people that are in your circle that will support you. Because the other thing is that you're on your own,
And I think if you're thinking of making the leap, that's when you need to start building that even more, don't you? Going to more trade shows and just getting out there a little bit more. Because I think when you're in the hamster wheel of corporate, you don't always have time for all of that stuff. But this is the time in which you kind of need to already, I see more consultants that are successful if they've got a little bit of potential work lined up before they make the leap.
Yeah, yes, definitely. And also, we just touched on there's only you, but you are running a business basically. So you've got to think about the time that you're going to need for the admin side of it, which, because you don't have an HR department and a finance department, it's you. So, that's where I have to spend my finance brain, is on my own business.
Because believe me, you end up doing your bookkeeping in front of the TV at night, because that's what I ended up doing until I started outsourcing it.
Yes, exactly. So, I hope everybody's found that useful. I find it an incredibly rewarding business to have. I love the diversity it brings me. And I think consultants, and it's funny because somebody asked me, consultant is like a loaded job title, isn't it? But I think it is for some people, because they have that that image of what we talked about before. But I don't think there's any other way that I can describe myself. That's what I do. And I think consultants can bring so much value into businesses when there's that mutual connection and all driving for the same end goal for the business. So I'm always happy to help to talk to people about what I do, if I can articulate it properly. And to people that are thinking about consultancy as well. Yeah.
I think people have found that really interesting. So how do they get in touch with you, Lucy?
LinkedIn.
Yeah. I'm just saying it because you've always been rubbish at doing any kind of sales pitch. So if you want to talk to Lucy about her consultancy business from either end, get in touch with her on LinkedIn, and she would be happy to talk to you. I've done sales pitch for you.
Thank you. And you can also visit my new website, lucywager.com.
Fabulous. Go and have a look, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it, rate and review us. It really helps us reach more food industry pros like you.
For more resources, head over to our website, overfoodsake.co.uk, and join our mailing list to stay in touch.
And if you'd like to connect with us, come say hello on LinkedIn. We're both there, Lucy Wager and Amy Wilkinson.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.